What's up, guys, and welcome to the Tim Sports Talk. And today we're talking about what the options are for the Washington football team at the quarterback position to get a future quarterback. Now, I wouldn't mind Ryan Fitzpatrick playing this season. That's no big deal. If that's what ends up happening, cool. But I would love, and I think we should, get a QB of the future on this roster somehow, some way, if not a straight-up starter over Ryan Fitzpatrick if one becomes available. And so we're less than a week into the draft, so we got options obviously still in the draft, and we have options maybe after the aftermath of the draft or during the draft to trade for maybe somebody inside the league still. So let's take a look here, and I've listed these in order of how I would want to get, like, who I would choose first, and we'll go through all the way to the end. All right. First up is, boom, Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is the second best quarterback in this draft. I love what I saw out of him against Clemson after hitting that rib, coming back into the game anyway, throwing 3 more touchdowns, bombing them. Like, I think this guy has talent through the roof. He ran a 4.4 40-yard dash. He is the full package, in my opinion. I think he could be, or he will be, honestly, a stud in the league. Now, I know the epilepsy thing came out, which honestly opens the door for us to possibly get him. I wouldn't have even put him on the list if this was done 3-4 days ago, because I don't think there's any way that he would have been passed up by the Niners at number 3. I think he's a stud, and I think they would go him. But now the door is definitely open for this guy to fall because people not understanding the complete nuances of the epilepsy diagnosis. They might get scared of it, and honestly, it is scary. It's a crazy thing where he could have seizures at any moment, head injuries. You could get hit nasty, and all of a sudden go into an episode. It could be extremely scary. Now, it didn't happen at all to him in college, which is good, and hopefully, this is not something that bothers him, and maybe something that he could grow out of in the future. Somebody had said in my comments, I don't know if this is accurate, apparently other people in his family have had this as kids and then they ended up growing out of it. So maybe that's nothing. But anyway, the point is that he could be an option on the table for us, and I think we should definitely trade up and go get him, and this could be the future of our team. Number 2 is Trey Lance. I love this dude. I've wanted him for over a year, and he unfortunately may go pick number 3 now with the Justin Fields situation, but that could mean that opens the door for Justin Fields. But I would love to go up and get this dude. Now, I do think he needs to sit a year. He did not play last year. He played the season before where he had 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and 14 rushing touchdowns. Over 1,000 yards rushing, like 2,700 yards, almost 2,800 yards throwing. The dude is also the full package. He's not quite as fast as Justin Fields, but he's plenty fast. He's also big, 6'3", 230 or something like that, where he can run somebody over. He's kind of like an interesting cross between Russell Wilson and Cam Newton, in my opinion. I think he has a great arm like Russell Wilson, but yet he can run you over and bulldoze you like a Cam Newton. So a nice cross between those two. So if we could somehow get our hands on Jordan Love, I think that would be huge for this football team. All right, next up is another drafted potential quarterback, and that is Davis Mills. Davis Mills is my choice out of the late round dudes. I would love to get him at pick number 51 if possible. He may even go too early, too fast. This dude, I think, would be a first-round pick in other drafts if it wasn't for how heavy the top end of this quarterback draft is. And I absolutely love this dude. I think he's a stud. I think he's extremely accurate. I love his speed at 4.58. He's got enough speed to get around the edge against some DNs and linebackers. So he's not a great runner by any means. He's not like the other two that have great mobility, but he's got plenty of speed to be able to use it and get around in the pocket if needed to get out of the situation. But I see him as a cross between an Alex Smith and Daniel Jones. And while those aren't top-tier quarterbacks by any stretch of the imagination, they are quarterbacks that you can win with. Maybe even somebody similar to like Kirk Cousins. And are these guys worth paying top-end money like Kirk Cousins was? No. But are these guys that you can put a team around and win with, like a Joe Flacco, like a Nick Foles, right? These guys aren't the best quarterbacks around, but yet they won Super Bowls because they were around a great team. And you know what his absolute ceiling is? it's Tom Brady with a little bit of legs. I mean, he's an extremely smart dude, went to Stanford. He's got a good, accurate arm. He takes what the defense gives you. He doesn't try to, force it all the time. He's got a good deep ball still. He can make all the throws. I love Davis Mills as our late-round option, and that is the last quarterback I have on this list out of the quarterback. So here is the trade possibilities. First up that I would want to get out of the trades is Jordan Love. I think this could be insane, especially if that trade was somehow true. I don't think it is, but the trade that the Patriots may be able to move back to pick 29, get Love and another pick, I would love to give 19 for 29 and Love. I would throw in an extra fourth if you wanted that, but I would love to do even a trade like they did for Sam Darnold, that being Carolina, where we may give a fourth this year, a second next year, and a sixth next year, or maybe a fourth and a seventh this year, and maybe a third next year, or something like that. I would love to get our hands on Jordan Love, sit him behind Ryan Fitzpatrick for a season. If he's not ready to just absolutely take the job right away, that would be awesome. But let him compete against Ryan Fitzpatrick. If he doesn't win the job outright, that's fine. Let Ryan Fitzpatrick play maybe half the year, and then this guy comes off the bench later. I don't care. Love is awesome, and my favorite part about him is he's still only 1 year into his rookie deal, so we're going to have him for 3 more years plus the 5th-year option. That would be plenty of time to develop this dude and get a lot out of him, so even making even using all that capital to potentially go get this dude, the potential's through the roof, and the contract is right. So that's why I would have him 4th out of my quarterbacks to go get coming up into the draft. Next one is a controversial one to many, but I love this dude, and that's Drew Lock. Drew Lock, the Broncos for some reason are in the conversation to potentially get a quarterback. George Patton, the GM, talked about there was a team calling them to potentially trade back to number 9, and they trade up, and a quarterback is very much into that scenario. They didn't go out and sign somebody crazy. They've also been in talks with trading for Teddy Bridgewater to bring in competition. They're definitely interested in bringing in another quarterback, which I think is insane. I think I wouldn't mind them getting a late-round quarterback for competition, going ahead and getting like a Kyle Trask or a Sam Ehlinger or somebody later in the draft that you can just bring in as a potential backup or something like that to compete. But Drew Lock, I feel like, should be their future. But if they want to move on from Drew Lock, again, I would do the similar trade that I did for Love. Go ahead and give him a few extra picks, and then we can get pick number 9, or we can keep number 19 and move forward and be able to draft some linebackers or a left tackle or somebody to continue to build this team, and then we have a QB of the future with Drew Lock. And I like Drew Lock a lot. But the thing is that he's already played 2 years on his deal, so he would only have 2 years left, and he was drafted in the 2nd round. So he does not have the 5th-year option. So there's a little bit less appeal than there is with Love. And Love does have a little bit more upside, I think, but Drew Lock still has a high upside. In my opinion, he has a fantastic arm. He's a little bit of a gunslinger right now where he has too many turnovers, but Baker Mayfield was the same way 2 years ago, and then he had 26 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, something like that this year. He crushed it this year for Cleveland. But the year before that, he had 22 touchdowns and 21 interceptions. Drew Lock had 16 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. There's a lot of similarities there. And another guy that he's kind of similar to, in my opinion, is Josh Allen. But a lot of people don't see that. That's fine. I would love to get my hands on him because I think he has a great, great future. And the last option is I just found out these guys might be in talks for a quarterback, to trade up for a quarterback. And that is the Oakland Raiders. Or the Las Vegas Raiders. If they want to move on from Derek Carr, I am interested in going to get Derek Carr. I like Derek Carr. He's got, I think, 3 years on his deal, and he's not overly paid. He's only paid around $20 million a year for a quarterback, a starting quarterback like Derek Carr. That's not a lot of money. And we can go ahead and get a legit starting quarterback in this league for, I don't know what it would take, but I wouldn't mind. I mean, I don't want to give up 2 firsts. Don't get me wrong. That was the conversation before. But even if we gave up pick number 19, and maybe somebody later, maybe a 5th next year or 4th next year or something like that, and maybe do something along those lines, maybe a 1st, 7th, and a 4th or something like that, like 1st, and a 7th this year and then a 5th next year or 4th next year, I wouldn't mind doing something like that. But it's not my ideal. Obviously, this is the worst case scenario out of the 6. But if that's what we ended up doing to go ahead and get a legit starting quarterback, I would not hate that at all. And I think we could definitely move forward. I think we can get a left tackle or a linebacker at pick number 51. We can continue to build with the rest of our picks, the 2/3, 4th, 5th, and 1/7 if we make this trade. So there's definitely a lot of good things about getting Derek Carr. I think the Raiders would be crazy to move on from him. Honestly, he's a legit starting quarterback, only making $20 million a year. Come on, dude. You should be able to win with that. I mean, if you're too stupid, John Gruden, to win with this kind of quarterback, I don't know what to do. 4,000. He throws over 4,000 yards. He can get 30 touchdowns for you. He can throw less than 10 interceptions. He's the full package as well. I don't understand what it is, why the Raiders are even in this conversation. But if they are, go get Derek Carr. That would be awesome. And that's the list. Those are my 6. So Justin Fields 1, Trey Lance 2, Davis Mills 3, Jordan Love 4, Mr. Drew Lock 5, and Derek Carr number 6. You guys let me know if you guys like anybody else. I am not a Kellen Mond fan. I'm not a Kyle Trask fan. I'm not high on those dudes. I'm not high on Ian Book at all. Ian Book is a joke in my opinion. No, we're not getting him. I'm not high on Mac Jones. I don't want to go up for Mac Jones. And I'm not high on, who else is even that kind of Felipe Franks or Sam Ellinger. I'm not big high on them as far as future goes. So, but you guys let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Also, in the description below, there's a Discord link. Hop in our Discord and come talk some football. And last but not least, there are donation links in the description below. And we got a new donation. It was my grandmother, good old Momo. She wanted to be the top donator. She is for now. They go ahead and beat her again, right? No, I'm just kidding. But thank you very much, Momo. Love you. Appreciate the donation. She worked very hard to get that donation. She made a PayPal all on her own. She tried to figure it out. She couldn't figure it out, so I had to go over there and help her out. But she donated to the channel. Thank you very much. And yeah, we need a quarterback of the future. Here's the 6 that I'm interested in going into the draft. You guys let me know. And until next time, see ya!